She's going to be joining us here in just a couple of minutes. What I'd like to do is kick this off. We're grateful to be able to come together as a community and to not only acknowledge the wrong that was done and point out that the path to justice is convoluted here. But the Lord says, "Vengeance is mine; I will repay," saith the Lord. So I'm going to kick this off. I want to tell kind of the overview of the story, and then we're going to get the story part of this out of the way, and then we want to bring the professionals in to kind of help put some cement in this. We have, as I said, we have April Kersey, who's an expert in this sort of IT scam work that's being done out there, and how to provide security against it in telephones and IT, and she'll talk a little bit about that. But here's the story of the day, and it is way too common. In fact, there are estimates that just in the surrounding area, I'm talking about Jeff Davis County and Presidio County and all of our next door neighbor counties, about $3 to $4 million a year is lost to these scammers. And the only defense we have is education. It's the only defense. And I will start with this. We had a word from our friend Retha, who she has helped head off one scam completely just by being observant. And sometimes that's what we have to do. We have to protect those people who are close to us. We have to observe, and she was observing some things that were happening with this family. And one of the things that was happening is they were buying gift cards to send to this story. So let me tell you that the total amount of loss is over $160,000 that was taken from this family. And this is an older family with in their 80s, and they have a child at home who has, by the grace of God, overcome her disabilities, but is at home with her parents. And they have no other ones to take care of them. This was their seed to take care of their child for the rest of her life when they're not here. How horrible it is that somebody would reach in and steal that money and steal that future. However, greater is he, the word says, that's in us than he that's in the world. And so I'm going to ask that you just kind of pause for a second, Retha, come up, because you're right at the beginning of this story, and share a little bit about what you saw, kind of what you went through, so that others who are observing, maybe family and friends that might be in a similar situation.
My name is Retha Smith, and I work in the dollar stores around the towns. I'm a merchandiser, so I'm in all the stores, and I get to know the people that come there, plus my friends come there. And I was in there one day, and a friend of mine was in there, was buying something. I don't even know what he was buying, but after he left, the cashier came to me and said, "Do you know this person?" And I said, "Yes, I've known him for a long time." He explained to me that there was lots of money going out, lots and lots of money. And this person was coming in and buying gift cards. And the stores were actually cutting them off, because the stores have authority to stop it if they think that people are being scammed. And all they could do, though, was get them to buy less. So this person was going around to a whole bunch of the dollar stores. We've got several in each town. Since I work in all of them, I know all the people that work in these stores, and they know me. And I started making phone calls and putting a stop to the scam that was going on with this person. I wish I could do that for everybody. This makes me so angry that these people are scamming the most vulnerable people in our communities. This is your mom, this is your dad, this is your neighbor, this is your grandma, your grandpa, your brother, your sister. They can be older, they can be younger. These people are good at what they do. They call and they prey on you. They try to get you to think you're going to get something out of this, or they prey on your fears, tell you you owe money, and you're going to be arrested. And I see this in these dollar stores all the time. I'm in there working, and I hear the staff telling a person at the register, "I'm sorry, I can't sell this to you. you are being scammed. And they try to educate them, but they don't have time to educate each and every person. There's little flyers on the little ink house where you get these cards that explain about scams, but not everybody reads them. So our job as an individual is to be observant and to see what's going on. If you see somebody buying a lot of these gift cards, just go talk to them and try to educate them. And maybe they'll listen to you. Maybe you're one of many who's told them, and they'll finally start thinking maybe this is a scam, and they'll pull back or they'll start asking questions. They might not believe you the first time you tell them. Don't give up. And you know what? I was willing to lose my friendship with this person if that's what it took to protect them. Thankfully, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So that's all I have to say. Just pay attention.
Thank you, Rita. There's another one. Speaking of which, let me explain to you how it is this happens. These people are called con men. The word con means confidence. They are able to get your confidence to get you to do something that you wouldn't otherwise do. And there are only two reasons that people do anything: promise of gain or fear of loss. One of the other intercepts that Rita caught was a lady who was told that the IRS was calling her, and the fake IRS was calling her and saying, if you don't pay your taxes, we're coming to arrest you today. And she was ready to go. And I borrowed a line from Sheriff Kitts. I told her, I said, hey, listen, let me talk to the guy. And I said, when you get here, there'll be somebody with a real badge and a real gun to meet you. So when would you like to come? Click. Listen, they're trying to steal from you. They're just being clever about it. Let me tell you, it can happen in a lot of ways. It's happened to me. As some of you know, we work with persecuted Christian refugees. And right before we came here, as a matter of fact, before we moved out to Fort Davis 5 years ago, we had helped the first of these refugees get out of Pakistan, where they were fleeing for their lives, and we got them into the U.S. and on to Canada. Well, when we got them there, we wanted to do a fundraiser. And there was a fellow who contacted me on the GoFundMe. He said, hey, we want to help spread the word. I said, hey, help spread the word. Well, that person was working for the other guys on the other side of the planet. And they took not only all the money out of the fundraiser for that family, but they got $20,000 out of our bank account. And they're clever and they're criminals. And I went to the police, just as I did for this family here. I went to Sheriff Kitts, and he said, Pastor, we really can't do anything. And I talked to the Attorney General's office, and they said the same thing. And I called the FBI, and they said the same thing. But here's what they all said: we have to educate. We have to tell our elders, and we have to tell our young people not to buy into these confidence schemes. I'll tell you another story. We have a small congregation. There's a young lady who just graduated high school, and she got a contact from a friend of hers on Facebook saying, hey, I got this great deal. If you'll put this money here and you'll go out to Las Vegas, you'll get an already paid for car. And she was almost convinced. We have to understand that's a lie. I want to borrow. I lean toward the constitutional conservative side of the country. I wouldn't say I'm a whack job in either direction, but I like a very great president that we had. He said, trust, but verify. Ronald Reagan said, trust, but verify. You can trust these people, but verify. They tried to tell this family. Let me tell you where this came down. First of all, we're talking about the 160,000 plus loss. They called saying, you've won the sweepstakes. I won't mention the one, but you've won the sweepstakes. And it's one that you all know about. I won't say the name, Publishers Clearinghouse, but okay, all right. So they called, and they said, they had the visions of this woman and the man and their pet coming to the door with a giant check, and they said, but you got to pay us something first. We got to take care of this or that or taxes or whatever. And they got about midway through and they said, you know what? We probably wouldn't be believing ourselves by now, so we need to change our story. So they went from being the Publishers Clearinghouse guys to the FBI. And we're going to help you get that money back. And all you have to do is send us a few $1,000s of prepaid taxes so that we can get it back for you. We'll get all that other stuff back for you too. And you want to believe it because what happened here? Promise of gain, fear of loss, and when you get caught in that vice grip and you allow somebody to bring you into that vice grip, there goes your life savings. There goes your house. Don't do it. Don't do it. Now, I don't want to go over the point too much, but what I would like to do is I'd like to have our deputy come up and share with us a little bit about what law enforcement's perspective is on this. Would you, sir, please? Thank you.
Yes, sir. How are you? Thank you for your service. Yes, sir. I'm Gary Walker. I'm the Chief Deputy here in Jeff County. With the invention of the internet and the social media and everything, these scams have just gotten worse, more elaborate, and more technologically advanced. Okay, and they become worldwide. There have been cases of people from Africa, Pakistan, India, Europe, scamming people over here in the United States. Okay, so just because you get a phone call that has a local area code doesn't mean that's where the call's coming from.
That's true.
They have software that can make a phone call seem like it's coming from any other number, from any other location. Same thing with IP address on computers. There's software that the IP address may show that the computer is somewhere in San Francisco, when actually it's over in Ethiopia or something. Okay. Get back to what President Reagan said, trust and verify. My personal opinion is I think he had it backwards. I've been doing this 38 years, and I'm at the point where I verify first, and only then do I begin to trust.
Yes.
Okay. Sadly, that's what our society is. Basically, what I tell people is, you get a phone call from a number you don't recognize, don't answer it. You get a text from a number you don't recognize, don't respond to it. You get an email from an address you don't recognize, or from a business that you didn't solicit the email from, just delete it. Don't even click on it. Also, the federal government, the federal agencies, the IRS, Social Security, whoever, they're not going to call somebody and tell them, hey, you owe money. Unless you pay it, we'll be there to arrest you later this afternoon. They don't work that way. The IRS will send you a letter inviting you to come to one of their offices. Okay. Yeah, I personally have received a phone call on my government phone from a man said he told me he was in Houston and that I owed some money, and if I didn't pay him immediately with a credit card, there'd be somebody in my house within an hour to arrest me. I told him, okay, I'll be waiting with my gun in my bag.
All right.
So that's it.
Yeah.
You know, I have a statement. I got a super call from the Border Patrol. The Border Patrol, however, was located in North Carolina. So they said, oh, you know, threatening me, and I'm harboring illegals, yada, yada, yada. So I hung up, and then I called the Border Patrol in Marfa, and they said, hey, there are scammers out there saying they're from the Border Patrol.
Yeah.
So I did the right thing.
You did the right thing. Yep.
Amen. Thank you.
If you get a phone call, email, text, whatever, and you're not sure whether it's legit or not, particularly if they're claiming to be with a government agency, Call that government agency. You'll get an email or something saying, there's a problem with your bank account or with your Visa account. Please call this number, for verification of information. We'll do it. On the back of your Visa card, there's a number. Call that number. Okay. Basically, any phone call, text message, email that you get that you don't recognize it, that you're not expecting it, don't trust it. What you do is call, again, if you get something from the Border Patrol or IRS claiming that you owe money, and if you don't respond, something bad's going to happen. Call the Border Patrol, call the IRS. They want to know about these scams too. People are using their names, their agency names. Same thing, you get phone call from somebody claiming, we're accepting donations for the Jeff Davis County Sheriff's Office. I guarantee you, don't do it. Yes,
The
ma'am.
one that would catch me is, Aunt Brenda, this is your nephew.
That's the newest
I know.
amount.
I'm in jail, I can't get hold of Dad. If you'll pay this, I'll pay you right back.
Yeah, that is one where people have received text messages, emails, phone call, claiming that a family member is in jail or in trouble down in Mexico or something. Need, a couple $1,000 to get them out and everything. If they claim, if they call and say, hey, your grandson's in trouble in Mexico, this is the American consulate, the Mexican consulate. You need to send $2,000. That'll get them out of jail and everything. Call your grandson.
There you go.
Yeah.
Verify and trust.
Verify the stuff before you do it.
Amen.
Call your grandson. Call your family. Call. If you're not sure of something, would you call us and we'll tell you whether it's legitimate or not. The only way these scams are going to stop, they're never going to stop. People have been running scams and cons since the Stone Age.
Who was it said there's a sucker born every minute? P.T. Barnum, yeah.
And if you do fall victim, don't feel bad. It happens to everybody. Okay. Everybody at some point will let you guard down just a minute. That's all it takes. People come, and not just on the internet. You're over at Alpine little store, some guy comes up saying, I need some money, I'm running out of gas. It's up to you whether you want to give them some money. But it's been my experience that 9 times out of 10 it's a con. They didn't run out of gas, they just trying to get some money. Although I did have one gentleman one time came up to me and said, I want a couple bucks. I said, why? He said, I'm gonna go get a beer. I said, here's 10, go get a 6-pack. He was the first one that was honest about it. Same thing, you go to Midland and you'll see somebody standing on the corner with signs saying, sick, got cancer, need money for rent, for the kids, or whatever. And they're talking on a $1,000 iPhone, smoking Marlboro Reds. No, it's a scam. So, any other questions?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, would you please?
Yes. The person I'm fixing to do is April Kirsty. She's one of us. I didn't know that. She was going to be here, but she thought it was next weekend. You talk about a lady who's on fire about these scams. She's a specialist. She is a cyber specialist. And once I got her on the phone after Rita had told me she had texted her, I called her up. We spent an hour and a half on the phone. I'm shocked. I'm disillusioned. I hope she scares y'all. She scared me. I hope April scares you too. She's all about educating people, and that's what it's going to take. In these folders, you'll see one of them that's the top 2022 scams, and I spent hours scouring the internet. So, we're going to leave these here for Una, because Una's been asked by a couple of people if they come by and grab one. Yes, it's a good idea to put them in people who are moving out here or the elderly. It's education. It's education. So without further ado, where is April at? Oh, are you there, April?
Yes, ma'am. Can you see me?
Everybody, this is April Kersey. Y'all know her. And people are waving at you. So scare us, April. Tell us what we're all doing wrong, what we shouldn't be doing.
Do you think, from what y'all have seen, are there mostly phone scams that people have been falling victim to out there, or has it been mixed with internet or some other kind of scams?
Mostly phone, but some internet.
Well, let's start with phone scams. If you get a call from anybody, and these people, the scammers, are not necessarily even in the United States. They're in Russia, they're in Albania, they're in Iran, they're anywhere, which makes it the perfect crime. Even if you can find them, you can't prosecute them. And they don't even know who they're calling. They have equipment that randomly dials people, and you can't call them back because they're spoofing the phone number that they're calling from. So if you get a call from someone and they want any information from you, even if they tell you, you owe us money and we're going to shut off your gas, or if they tell you, we have this money for you, you just need to give us your bank information, do not give them any personal information. That means your social security number, your address, your phone number, your email address, your bank information, your credit card number, none of that. And in fact, there are only, even if they wanted to come to your house, there's only 3 pieces of information you need to find almost anyone. And that's a date of birth, a zip code, and a gender. And with those 3 pieces of information, you can find anybody. So these people are very clever, and this is what they do for a living. They're very sophisticated. They're very organized. There are families that do this for a living. And in fact, the ransomware that you hear about is all done by families, and they have a top-notch IT support program to help you pay them. They'll tell you where you can go transfer your money into Bitcoin to pay them. And speaking of payment, the whole issue with the gift cards and Bitcoin is they want to be paid in a way that's not traceable. That's why they want you to get gift cards, so it can't be traced. That should be a red flag right there. And if they want your bank information, that's a red flag right there. They don't even, I had a call the other day. Somebody called me and said, I'm with Amazon. We just want to verify this purchase that you made. It was for a Mac computer and an iPad, and it's like $1,500, and we just wanted to make sure it was you that ordered it. And I said, no, I didn't. And they said, well, give us your bank information and we'll call them and let them know this is a fraudulent charge. And I went, no, I can call my own bank. So like the sheriff said, if you think first of all, the IRS won't call you, PayPal won't call you, none of these people are going to call you. And if you get a call like that, yes, call the organization yourself so you know that's who you're talking to. Don't trust that that person on the phone is from the company they say they're from. And as opposed to the last 2 speakers that you had that said trust but verify, the current model in cybersecurity is zero trust. You don't trust anyone. In a large corporation, the employees themselves only get access to the files that they need to do their job. And that's the only way you can keep yourself safe, is to just not trust them, not trust anybody. If you as they've said, if you think it's Amazon or the IRS or anybody else, call them. If you think they're about to cut your gas off because you haven't paid their bill, call the gas company. There's a
Ask you about what we were talking about for some of the younger people here. What about our computers? We live on our computers, and when I was talking to you, I realized I need to do all kinds of stuff to get phone numbers off and people can hunt me out.
Yeah, and I was going to tell the people that don't use the internet, if they have questions about any of this, get hold of their kids or someone that is real internet savvy and get them to check on things for you. I have a problem with linking accounts. Google and Facebook and some of these other outfits want you to link your phone number to your account. And I have a problem with that because if someone can get into your account and get your phone number, they can also get a lot of other information. There was a guy that had an internet blog. He also had a Facebook page. And on his Facebook page, he had his phone number. Well, someone went from his blog to his Facebook page, got his phone number, and then called Amazon and pretended to be him and said, I've lost my password. Can you reset my password? And they gave him they let him, with the information he had, reset the password. Well, then he had access to this man's Amazon account, which let him go in the profile and get all his banking information and his credit card information. So you can see where all that went. Don't link accounts. If they get into your Facebook account, that's as far as they can get if your phone number's not in there and your email address isn't in there. There are scam web pages that look just like the Google page, and they'll say, or they look just like the PayPal page, and they'll say, your account's been compromised, put in your password and we'll help you recover your account. Well, you just gave them your password, and the website that they send you to is not actually PayPal. And the same thing with Google. Somebody will make a fake Google website and it'll say, put in your password. Well, now you've let them into your Google account, which gives them access to all your information. Unlike young people now that put their entire life on Facebook, do not put your life out on the internet. That is precious information that you can't afford to give away. We had an example of a company that set up a website, and it was a little company, and they let the sales girl design the website, and she put the pictures and position and email address of every senior person in the company on the website. Well, a month later, when the president of the company is off fishing in Alaska, the sales girl got supposedly an email from him asking her to go buy $1,000 worth of Target gift cards and send him the activation codes. Well, of course, all the information they needed to spoof his email to her, and from the website they could tell the relationship that she was an employee, and run that scam. So, you've heard of TMI, too much information. Well, that's another example.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, looking at overall where we are.
I'm having a hard time understanding y'all. I can't hear you.
That's okay. That's a lot of information. And what you're saying, Amber, is there's a lot that we can do. April, I'm sorry. I've got a lady that I work with during the week named Amber. So anyway, April, what we're working to do is not only when we find ourselves in a jam like that, you find yourself in a jam or you suspect you're in a jam, what do?
What kind of a jam do you mean?
Well, either telephone, you're in a phone scam, mean, if you're talking to somebody in a phone scam or an internet scam, you've been telling us kind of one thing at a time what to do, but what if you find you're already in the middle of it and you've been sucked in? How do you get out?
You mean as far as already giving them money or giving them information?
Yeah,
or what?
what's the damage control? What do you do now to stop this from continuing happening further
Well,
on?
you're not going to get your money back. I mean, those people are you will never trace them because you gave them money in a way that can't be traced, and they're on the other side of the world probably. So you've lost that money. I mean, you can report it to your bank if you think. I had someone not too long ago realize right after they hung up that they had given somebody information to get make a charge on their bank, and she immediately called the bank and managed to get it stopped before they were able to access it. But you can, and there's some links that I've got. The FBI and IC3 have real good information on trying to stop. If they get a wealth of information about a scam and you have enough information, they can try and act on it. If you go to their website under elder fraud, there's all kinds of, they tell you what information they need and how to document it. And there is a chance that eventually they could stop the people. Whether they can get your money back or not is another thing. If you think that you have given people too much information on Facebook or your email, immediately change your password and they can't get back in.
Okay. All right. Well,
Change your
what we're going to do with this, by the way, I mean, we'll headline this. We're going to have this on YouTube. We're going to get this as far and as fast as we can. And what I'd like to do, April, with you and is if you can make those links available. We're also going to have Q&A available. So if we get any inquiries, I'll pass those on to you. But
Okay.
What we're really hoping is that the people who are watching this, I'm talking to you right now who's watching this, what I'm hoping you'll do is you'll forward this to your older relatives, forward this to your neighbors, forward this to your kids who are graduating high school or college. We've got to protect our vulnerable people. And sometimes the best offense is a good defense. And so what we'll do also is we'll have all the information we're passing out here at the meeting. We'll have that available for you to go to and download, so you'll be able to have access to that. We want to help you prevent this from happening in the future, and we want to help it. We want to help you prevent this from happening to somebody that you love, your neighbor, as we were hearing earlier, your parents, your grandparents, yourself. Don't let this happen. You can do your very best to stop it from happening, and it just takes being educated to do so. Thank you very much for your attention. And again, I want to thank you, April, for being on with us, and Deputy, thank you for being with us today, and for everybody who came, and for those who are going to watch this. Please spread the news. Stop the scam. This is an anti-scam counterattack. We want to cut it off, and it's only going to work as we educate. So please help us, and thank you very much.